Today we're returning to the place where history and holiday magic meet.
We're on our way from Sussex County to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Bethlehem is overflowing with lights, history, horse carriage rides, incredible light displays, artisanal vendors. It has been amazing, and it's just getting started. Welcome to Vlogmas 2025 with Julie Jordan Scott. I'm grateful you are here. Now let's go see the sights. Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, to discover the magic of Christmas that is there. I never imagined that I would be adding to someone else's Christmas magic simply by showing up and being myself. And that's exactly what happened. But let's go in order. Let me tell you what we did there. Our first stop of the day is at the Bethlehem Festival of Trees. This is an annual tradition in Bethlehem, and different organizations decorate trees, and it's a competition, and it's a fun chance for people to explore Bethlehem. Now, if you did not know, Bethlehem is home of one of the UNESCO cultural sites. The one in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and 3 other Moravian settlement sites are all part of this group UNESCO organization. I couldn't take video, so I'm going to show you some stills. But included with the trees were in their meeting room, which was a very simple, sparse room with some scripture around the ceilings and benches. That was it. That was how they met when they first came to the US in the mid-18th century. They settled in Bethlehem, named the town Bethlehem in the 1740s. Another interesting thing is there are other settlements in the area, or not far, like near where I live in Sussex County, there's a town called Hope. I think it's in Sussex, it might be in Warren County, but called Hope, New Jersey. And when I first went to Bethlehem and saw the Moravian settlement, I thought, wait, this looks a lot like Hope, because they're both Moravian settlements in the mid-18th century. As part of the Festival of Trees, I also explored the Kemmerer Museum of Decorative Arts. Now, this museum is one of only 15 in the United States. I could take video there, and here's a few shots of the different trees. It's interesting how they curated which trees went to the Decorative Arts Museum and which trees went to the Moravian, the Moravian settlement buildings. Do you notice a difference? Our next stop, also called the Christkindlmarkt at the Bethlehem Stacks. The Bethlehem Stacks are where Bethlehem Steel once had a huge booming business, which turned into part of the Rust Belt at the middle of the 20th century when we lost a lot, actually probably later in the 20th century, maybe in the 80s is when it finally stopped. But I found it beautiful last September. But here we have literally a trail at Bethlehem Steel with native plants and beautiful art and explanations of what's going on as you walk along behind the steel mill. It's just, and look at this. There is a beauty in appreciating history and what was and what supported the city for so many. A German marketplace. I was blown away. Check out all these lights. There were places to make s'mores. There were incredible igloos. Here's one now. I actually felt self-conscious during this portion of the trip because the place was swarming with people on a Friday night, and I was literally the only single person there. And I felt awkward. I did make conversation with people because that's what I do, but I wasn't totally comfortable. And since I'm not a shopper, I spent most of my time at the ice sculptor, in the igloo, warming up, and walking around the lights, taking pictures, observing. But I really didn't have any desire to spend a lot of money or to drink a lot or eat a lot. Now, after this, my most important point of the evening happened. I wanted to go on a horse-drawn carriage in downtown. My daughter Emma and I have been joking about this whole adventure to Bethlehem and how it's a real Christmas city and we love Christmas cities and isn't this the best thing ever? And we started talking about Hallmark movies. And I said, I could be the magical, wise older person who shows up in all the Hallmark movies. Oftentimes they're a man though. Like Ed Asner is one of these characters in one of my favorite Hallmark movies ever, The Most Wonderful Time in the World, that has that famous airport scene. Airport scenes are really common in rom-coms. Ugh, that airport scene, fabulous. Anyway, so Emma and I were joking, and I said, and so since I'm the magical character, there has to be a single mom with a child, a really cute little child, and somehow she needs to get fixed up with someone like a firefighter, and I could be the one to make this happen. So Emma and I have been joking about that, texting throughout the day. So I was waiting for my turn to go onto this horse-drawn carriage, and I knew I was going to go, and I was really excited to go. But as I was waiting, I noticed this young woman who had a little boy with her. And I went to her and I said, "Hey, Mom, would you and your little boy like to go on that horse carriage with me?" And thankfully, she said yes. So I went on this horse-drawn carriage that I was going to go by myself with this young woman and her son. True enough, single mom. And we continued the joke about being in a Hallmark movie. The funny thing is, well, there's many funny things about this, but this little boy was one of the most adorable little people that I've ever met. And he had an Irish name. It's like, "What's your name?" And he said his name. And I said, "That's a wonderful Irish name." And then his mom said, "We're Irish." And I said, "I'm Irish." And it was just grins ear to ear. And little boy said, "This is a dream come true." And as we were driving along with the conductor, the woman who was riding the horse, or whatever you do when you're making the horse gallop around, she pointed out that Hallmark has a live stream that goes 24 hours a day. And she showed us where to wave and how to wave when we passed that. And we learned the different things that you say to horses. And the little boy then said, "When I grow up, this is what I want to be." He wants to be the person who drives the carriage. What a remarkable time. What a dream come true for me to literally play out the role of the character on a Hallmark movie. Could it possibly get any better than that? Now, the only disappointment for me of that trip was that all of the Christmas lights weren't on yet, and the big Christmas tree wasn't lit up, and I didn't see the Star of Bethlehem. So how could I have Vlogmas without those things? So right now, we are going to see, 2 weeks later, when I went back and took some footage of the Christmas tree all lit up, which was, guess where? Plot twist. Last summer, I did a morning walk that I recorded at the library in Bethlehem. Guess where the big town tree is?
When I decided to stop in Bethlehem, it's interesting because I know I'm supposed to be here.
At that same location. Guess where the lookout is for the Star of Bethlehem? At that same location. I tell you, I was meant to go to Bethlehem, and you were meant to go with me. So I am so grateful you're here. We're going to drive down Main Street in Bethlehem so you can get that feeling as if we are driving down that street together. Are you ready? Let's do that. It's now time for our Advent calendar. And what we're doing for Advent is to share a memory from the year and add it to our calendar. Instead of having a calendar filled with trinkets and stuff, we are going to do it this way. So I'm going to tell a story from this year that I loved and that I'm so thrilled that I got to experience. And I want you to be thinking of one as well. Put it in the comments, perhaps. It would be great to fill up the comment section with stories in memory from 2025. So in January of 2025, I managed to get together with 2 of my childhood neighbors. We said, hey, I got together with the girls from Hawthorne Avenue and Carteret Street in Glen Ridge, New Jersey. This was in the 70s when we were little girls. And it was just a wonderful time of connection. What's something that's coming up for you that happened this year that you'd like to put in the comments? You might bring some cheer to people. And also you might help people who are having a rough time think of something good from this past year that they want to put on the calendar. Video starting tomorrow, we're going to have guest spots that will come in this section. Right underneath the Advent calendar, you'll be introduced to one of the miraculous, fabulous, interesting people that are in my world via YouTube. And one of the focuses of Vlogmas here is to create a space for people who are not too excited about the holidays. I mentioned that in my first year of serious grief, I totally ignored the fact that it was Christmas. I was not going to do what I've always done. I was going to just kind of ignore it, opt out of Christmas entirely. And I really wish that I hadn't done that. In retrospect, I wish someone had talked me out of it. I wish someone had helped me to not see that it had to be all or nothing. I wish someone had done that for me. And I hope that for some of you, this space here might be one of your paths out of all or nothing thinking. And I just want to say thank you so much for hanging out here for this first day of Vlogmas. This day was a rough one. I meant to get this done hours ago. Unfortunately, sometimes life doesn't go as planned, and we just roll with the punches around here. So again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you come back for the rest of the series. I'm really excited about my guest stars, my special guest stars, and we'll see you tomorrow. Happy Vlogmas. Sometime in the future, you may hear the rest of the story of December 1st, 2025, but for now, it's just one of those mysterious events that I may tell the story of further down the line. Thank you, as always, for watching. Thank you, thank you.